Good morning, fellow viewers. This is the legendary 226. We're going to talk about the history of this breed and how it came about and how good it has been over the years, and it's been a long time. When I first met Carol Nismith, they were winning every other derby. Ray Alexander had brought me to Carol Nismith, and then we went to Mid-America. Ray Alexander won that derby. And he was advertising his roundheads as the winningest fowl in the world, and no American was contesting it. When I met up with Carol, he was again the one that was winning. And Carol was even joking. He said, breakfast time, if we stop winning, Nene will be with another group of cockers. Anyway, what happened there was Carol had mated his sweaters to Stewart chickens, which were Eugene Brown. They were the Oak Grove team. And what happened there was at the end of the season, when they started shipping chickens to Mexico, this broodcock accidentally got shipped to Mexico. And there was no way the Mexican would return it, or there was no way they could retrieve it. So what Carol did was he went back to the source and got the full brother. The full brother was just as nice, but was not winning as much as the other one. So what he did was he single-mated an old left-in hen, which was pure sweater, another old right-out hen, which was also pure sweater, and he tried to look for the pullets of that old other sweater that got shipped out. And he couldn't find but one, and her back was all scratched up. So what Carol got her anyway, and single-mated her towards the end of the season. When I got there, I bought a trio. I got one hen from the left-in hen, I got one pullet from the right-out hen, and I got one stag from the possum hen. They called her the possum hen because there was 4 of them. The sisters were eaten by the possum, that's why her back was all scratched up. So when I got this, when I brought the trio back, I told Carol, I said, when I breed towards the other 2 hens, they're not as nice as when I'm breeding towards the son of the possum pullet. After the breeding season, the possum, they turned out the 2 old hens and the possum pullet to freshen up. There was only 1 clutch of eggs on the 3 matings. And this pullet went back to the place where the possum quickly ate her up. So there was only one hatch, 1 clutch of, I think there was 5 stags, I think, 5 stags. I got 1 stag, I had the first choice. I got 1 stag, Harold got another stag, Carol kept 2, and I think he must have let somebody else have 1. I think it was J.C. Allen. J.C. Allen was the son-in-law of Shorty Bullock. J.C. Allen bred that, and he kept the 2. So every time we'd go back, I said, Carol, you know, this the one that's coming out of the possum pullet is definitely superior to any which way I breed them. And then we know now that it's superior because she was the daughter of a cock that was producing all of those winners. And they were winning every other derby. So I banded him 226. So that's how the name Possum 226 came about. It was just the number of my wing band, yeah. So when people say that they also have 226, how can they have 226 when it's my wing band? And there was not many of them. And suddenly when it became very popular, Everybody seems to have 226 and everybody seems to have possum. But there was very little of that. There was very little of that. This was sweater crossed over to the original old hens. And then to the daughter of that winning broodcock that got shipped to Mexico. That's how I think they maintained their genes of being winners. And I bred that cock for 11 years. And they were producing. Anybody who had just even one half of that blood was winning. And I could trace it. I could trace where all of these chickens went. Some people want to keep it a secret, but I know where all of them went. And people would get battle cocks from people that purchased from me, and when they become winners, they breed it to their chicken, and somehow it would breed on. And that was, that's difficult to find. That's difficult to find, and I attribute it to the genetics. The genetics was really very strong, and probably it was very strong in that particular rooster. These chickens came from Sweater McGuinness when he fought in probably Haverhill. He brought 4 roosters and they were yellow-legged. Sweater McGuinness only has green-legged chickens. They were wondering what Sweater did with it, that it became yellow-legged. And you know, the history says that good people got one of each. Ray Hoskins got one. Walter Kelso had one. He made Cecil Davis breed it. Then those are the chickens that Cecil Davis would fight here, and they do so well. The other one that got was Harold Brown. That was his golden yard. The only bloodline that was at par with fighting with the lemons of Duke Halsey. If there's a fifth, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 84 of Duke Halsey also had this blood. So you try to trace it. It was the yellow-legged McLean of Ray Hoskins. It was the golden yard of Harold. It was the Cecil Davis blood that Walter Kelso had. So all of these were all winning everywhere. And it must have been a fresh cross because Sweater McGuinness never had the yellow-legged chickens. So he must have put something very recent. It must have been a fresh cross, meaning you don't really need very, very inbred chickens to produce as long as you're able to keep it. Like Ovid Michael would say, there is no greater virtue than the mere retention of what you have. So I think I've proven that with Ray Alexander's roundheads, with the sweaters and these high-action hats. These high-action hats, that's another story, but it's also a success story. You know, I was a good friend of Carol, so I would know his pens, and I could see where I could get fresh blood without altering the old blood. So I knew where to get the fresh blood. Incidentally, Harold had this yellow-legged blood, and then when he started getting some green-legged pullets, he bred sweaters to the green-legged side, and they became green-legged, so they became hatches. And this high action is the green-legged side of the sweater. So when you put them together, it's a merger and an explosion of good genes. This is exactly how they look like since we've started with them. They haven't lost any of their beauty. Their legs are nice and keen, and they got good bodies. And you can breed them to a duck, and they'll still win. Well, my sweaters had always been 226. And we've fought everywhere. We've fought Candelaria. We've won that 3 times. People have fought there all their lives and never won once. We fought in Araneta, and I've only joined Araneta several times, and I won it several times. Even the Thunderbird Challenge, I've joined the Thunderbird Challenge 4 times and became champion twice with perfect scores. And we fought in Dumaguete, we fought in, and one of the biggest rooster fights is in Davao. In the Araw ng Davao, we've also won that twice. And the 2 times that we did not win it, we were just 1 fight away from winning it. 5 out of 6 twice, and 6 out of 6 twice. They're very versatile. If the other rooster wants to engage, they'll climb as high as the other rooster wants to go. If they meet on the ground, they also cut very well, and they have normally they have more feet than their opponents. So it's been the most successful pure or crossed. They carry themselves, and when you cross them to something that you also like in the other bloodline, that they allow that trait to come out. So they're a good dancing partner. They don't step on the feet of the other partner. They get better as cocks. They're kinda inbred, and they're a little bit slightly late maturing. Thank you for visiting me. This is my signature 226, and like Thunderbird, wala nang iba.